What's good, my niggas and niggas? Welcome to the Black Honey Badgers broadcast. Collabo with me. Oh wait, that's intro is her
That
thing
was
to do.
so my thing to
Yep,
do.
me stealing thunder. This is me falling back.
You ain't shit. Hey family, what's up? It's your girl Jennifer Denny, aka the Black Honey Badger, and I have my very special guest. Y'all know him, y'all love him. He's the Black Sheep. Bye. It's Mark Black.
Bah, what's good, family? What's good? Happy Friday to all of you.
Yeah. So before we get started, I want to just say a few things, and then we'll get into why I have y'all here watching me and shit like that. So when I first started the blog, Black Money Protection, the Black Honey Badger, all that stuff, I started it on May 30th, 2018. And all I had then, from first post to last, was passion. I was newly converted to this wonderful idea, and so all I had was this pure fire to just put my thoughts out there so everybody can hear them, true or no, although, mostly, true. But I didn't really have a whole lot of data to back up what I was saying. I didn't have a lot of. Can you hear me
We gonna make sure they can hear you
okay?
okay.
I didn't really have a whole lot of data to back up my points and thoughts. I mean, it's developed over that time. And May 30th this year was the 1 year anniversary of the Black Honey Badger, the Black Money Protection. So I wanted y'all to know that at first it might have seemed as if I was infantilizing you, black men. And that's not so much the case. Now, when I said black men need protection, I simply meant the same protections that black women get, black men need. The same advocacy that black women get, black men need. They need a voice, they need a space, a place. And I was hoping, and I still am hoping to be one of the voices that highlights what you go through, who you are, and who you are, especially to me. Because, like I said before, I love y'all. And I don't think that there's enough shine on how hard you work, how smart you are, how brilliant and talented you are. There's not enough shine on y'all for that. And so I wanted to make sure that when I started with only that in mind. What can I do to highlight black men? And so when I started, it was a lot of passion, fire, passion, and now it's me reading articles and reading statistics and me reading data. And so now what you're going to get is less of the converted passion and more of the data when I begin to broadcast, which is going to take me some time because I'm still researching and studying. And then also, I wanted to kind of make sure to let y'all know that I am not a feminist. In the post, the not the last one I did, the one before that, I had conversations with two black men, and one of them really thought I was a feminist, and I was just kind of saying this BS rhetoric, and it's not that at all. If anything, I am a traditionalist. I believe, that the woman is the man's helpmeet, like it says in the Bible. I believe that, we are supposed to be your partners. So, now, the reason that we are here today, when I did the live stream, What Happened to the Good Women, a few days after that, I had a conversation with your man, Mark Black. And in the conversation, he said some things that I really thought were really pertinent for you to hear about the good woman. And to me, I thought it was really important for us to talk about, not only where the good woman is, but why have we been complicit in letting the ratchets roost? Why have we been quiet and kind of just let the community be run the way it's been run? So, Mr. Black?
Ain't you gonna ask me a question or something?
Am I interviewing you?
I mean, no. So as far as the good women thing goes, right? Um, I think that when I first read your post, like, cause I actually read the blog, like,
Mm-hmm.
just like you support me, I support you, right? I've been there
Day
since
one.
day one, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I first read the post, I, I like to smoke, right? Cause I'm the black outcast, right? So I love shade and smoke, and
Right.
so that part of it vibe with me. Peace, by the way, Black Fist, welcome, man.
Hey, Black
Um,
Fist.
so that part I was vibing with, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then, like, and I think this is primarily a brother thing.
Mm-hmm.
I started traipsing back down memory lane, right? Like, because here you were talking about where's the good women at.
Right.
Now, when you pose a question,
Mm-hmm.
in my opinion,
Mm-hmm.
that begs an answer.
Absolutely.
You dig? So
Mm-hmm.
I started traipsing back down memory lane and just started looking at different aspects of my own personal experience,
Mm-hmm.
the experience that I've seen with other brothers, and so
Mm-hmm.
on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that popped out at me
Mm-hmm.
is that I don't think that any one of us alive can truly remember a time when there was good women.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that sounds harsher than some people would want me to say,
Right.
right? Um, but I got to keep it a buck
Right.
because, first of all, as this guy who's an amoral pragmatist, right?
Right.
Meaning I'm all about what works.
Absolutely.
For me, defining good is just simply a function of utility, right? A utility to a beneficial end, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right. So when I define good, good is any action, beliefs, ideas, etc., that work out to our benefit
Mm-hmm.
as ADOS people or black people in general, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So when we look at the dynamics of everything from conception
Mm-hmm.
of children
Mm-hmm.
to child rearing and development
Mm-hmm.
to pedagogy to caretaking, to feed and care of,
Absolutely.
and everything in the main, right? Because I have to speak in generalities. So, in other words, ladies, if this shoe don't fit you, don't put the motherfucker on.
That's
But
really before you finish. That's really what I had to do with Angry Man. If it don't fit, don't.
yeah, if
It
this,
ain't you. You know what I mean? Like, so I had to do that myself. Like, because I told you the reason for the post was just hearing everything he had to say and being like, fuck, like, is it true? Is it not true? And so, but I really want y'all to take that to heart. If this does not apply to you, don't put on the shoe.
exactly, if it don't apply, let it fly,
Absolutely.
right? But in the main,
Mm,
I would have to argue as a sane, rational ADOS man
mm,
that good women are like fucking unicorns.
mm-hmm.
I'm serious, like leprechauns, often heard of and rarely, if ever, seen.
Well, let me ask you. Now, in my particular culture, you're raised from jump.
You should probably tell them what your culture is for those who might not know.
For those of you who do not know, I am a black Panamanian. I was born here, but both my parents are Panamanian, and so my culture is a Latin culture. So, in my culture, we are taught basically to be in service and be partner to the man. Now, when we talked about it before, I kept saying, well, what well, I the fact is that sometimes I forget that I'm Latina. So like when we're talking and you're saying there aren't any good women, I'm like, what about me?
Wait, pause.
Hmm.
Because notice, I'm not saying there aren't any good ADOS women or any good Latinas. I
Right.
said good women
Mm-hmm.
because this culture
Mm-hmm.
breeds bad women, right? And bad women breed bad people,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like one of the things that really pisses me off about the whole gender war thing,
Right.
right? Because let's face facts, family, brothers. Oh, some comments.
Yeah.
Peace and blessings to you, brother Michael. By the way, if you here, family, you know what to do. Pop in the chat and let us know you here so we can show you some love,
And Black
right?
Fist, there he go, doing the good modding.
Appreciate that, Black Fist.
Thank you, Black Fist. And I put some links into the description so you can support your interest as well. So do that. And and like hit the like button. Stop playing. Like,
or the hater button,
or the hater button.
whichever one you want. But what pisses me off about the whole gender war thing between ADO, especially ADOS, because you know that's my wheelhouse.
Right.
But black people specifically, the black gender wars, is that really brothers have been easy. We have been nice about the whole gender war thing because we could have shut this shit down,
right.
And we could have shut it down way earlier than we have.
Now, why?
Because I'll tell you why.
Absolutely.
Because science is on our side. Right? With the study of sociology, psychology, and so on and so forth, we see that every human being's primary socialization and secondary socialization starts with females,
right.
with the mothers specifically, and then the surrounding females in her social group, right?
Absolutely.
If you
village.
Right, if you look at if you look historically at how human groupings have operated, adult males are usually on the go, right? For various reasons. They're not always the hunters and the big badasses. Sometimes they're just the scouts, the ones who get out and about. They go make trades. They go explore, right? And so the core of the community, what organizes a tribal group or a clan or a community is always around females. We're one of two species of primates, the others being the bonobos or the bonobos, that have that female-centered orientation around social interaction. Okay? Because chimpanzees don't have it. You got the alpha chimp, he's the boss. Everybody else does what the fuck he says or they get pounded. Right? So, knowing that our primary socialization and to an extent, a great deal of our secondary socialization is initiated, started, and maintained by females, then logically speaking, it only stands to reason that if you have, let's give the sisters the arguments that brothers are dysfunctional.
Right.
Well, if brothers are dysfunctional, then it is a truth that black people have the men that their women make.
Absolutely. I definitely agree. And if y'all have noticed, a lot of my posts are like that, especially black men need protection, black women don't choose to see. Like that one seems to me like almost one of my favorites because there was a particular imagery that I put in there regarding white supremacy or whiteism being akin to snake oil, and we've signed on for it. Because we get some benefits. It doesn't benefit us to see black men as they are. It benefits us to continue the cycle. To continue.
Ooh. Yeah, okay. No, I'm sorry.
No,
I didn't mean to cut you off. No, because you're hitting on something that I think is really deep, right? As you know, I am a student of and an admirer of Dr. Tommy Curry, right? The author of The Man Not. Dr. Curry, in his book, talks about the idea of the caricature, right? So the greater society at large, who sees black men primarily as a threat, right? The black brute, the rapist, the brutalizer, and so on and so forth, right? The black avenger who's gonna just swoop out of the night and destroy everything we hard-working white folks that work hard to build, right? So that's the greater society. But even in our own culture, black women no longer interact with black men. They interact with a black male caricature. Now, it is a creation partially of the indoctrination of our society, right? Because you can't exist in this society without being infected to some degree by white supremacy or what we call whiteism, right? Absolutely. But it's also a function of the fact of the incentivization to hold that idea, right? Like, I'll give you a case in point. It's much easier for me to dehumanize you when I'm rewarded for it than it is if I'm just told to do it, right? So if the greater society at large tells the black woman to shit on her man, right? If she's using her noodle, she'll be like, for what? That's my man, right?
Yeah,
Like,
I
are you
remember
fucking stoned?
Right.
Right? So in order to lock in the propaganda, the programming, they have to offer either the carrot or the stick. Now, when we were on the plantations, of course, it was the stick.
Absolutely.
You either keep your niggers in line or we're going to sell them off, right? So it was the stick.
Right.
But nowadays, by the way, before I continue, shout out to August Dreams, our Jizzle, Just As Shar, and the Son of a Panther. Happy Friday to you all, fam.
Oh my gosh.
So, but nowadays, the incentive to the women is the carrot, right? It is better access to educational opportunities, entertainments, more
better resources,
right, more job opportunities or more chances to access resources, less deleterious effects from the
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh yeah, the less deleterious effects from the things that we all face. For example, when we talk about mass incarceration, let's keep it a full fucking butt. We're talking about mass black male incarceration.
Absolutely.
Black females are incarcerated, at a rate that's roughly equivalent to white males.
What is that document 2013 said? One in 10,000? No. There was a statistic of how many black men.
Yeah, it's nearly 10,000 per 100,000.
Yes.
Right? It's roughly about 8,190 or so black males incarcerated per 100,000. Right? So we talk about these issues that affect black people, and sisters include themselves in. But in point of fact, they're not the ones being affected like that. I mean, I read an article that was written that was stating that we should not lock women up at all. Right? This author of this article was saying that women should not be imprisoned at all. Right? So now what happens if that becomes the greater social dynamic, that black women, no matter what criminal activity they do, no matter what wrong they do, don't have to worry about the threat of imprisonment? Where will be the incentive for them to stand up and fight for the disproportionate and unjust imprisonment of the black man? You see what I'm saying? So in this day and time, the incentive is the carrot. They're not beating you. They're not beating black women and saying, oh, you're going to keep your niggers in line. No, they don't have to do that anymore, because now they've offered just enough to where it incentivizes from generation to generation to generation this interaction with the caricature of black maleness.
Now, do you believe it's also some sort of programming?
Yeah.
Now, the reason that I mention that is because I, unfortunately, not really unfortunately, but I watched an interview with Kanye West. Now, he bipolar, he crazy, yeah, but there was something he was saying about programming. He wants to keep his kids unprogrammed.
Right.
And I kind of get it. Like, you don't want, you always hear that whenever you have a child, you want more for them than what you had.
Right.
But I don't honestly see that in the black community. I see.
Are you serious? Like, you absolutely don't see that. Like,
I don't.
You see the opposite of that.
And I saw a tweet today saying that your children are not your reparations. And that's really true. Your children are your children. One, they didn't ask to be here. They didn't ask to be here. And two, they're not your ticket
into a come up.
Right. Exactly.
I absolutely feel you. You know, the thing is it's definitely a function of programming, right? Nothing happens under this white supremacist system that is not a function of the educational system, the media, and the whole 9 yards. We're exposed. I mean, in a black household, I'm speaking as a poor 80. I grew up, my mother was dirt fucking poor. All right. We grew up in the PJs. Okay. Shout out to Riverview Projects, by the way. Right? Grew up in the PJs. But every household had a TV. Don't you find that odd that even amongst the poorest families in this country, we all have some means. They make it accessible, the means to propagate ideas, thoughts, memes, etc. via the media, right? We're never, from the moment the ADOS people were born, we're being propagandized, programmed into the matrix, right? I hate using that because it's been kind of overblown, but it really fits.
Right.
This whole system operates as a matrix. Another definition for the word matrix is womb, right? In the Bible, the word matrix is used to describe the womb, right? So the matrix in which we exist is designed to do one thing, to give birth to white supremacists, because that's how white supremacy is maintained. White supremacy doesn't give a shit about your skin color, right? Brother BGS said something on a broadcast the other day that I just thought was amazing. He said in 50 years with transhumanism and genetic engineering and all this stuff, people will essentially be able to choose their color. But you won't be ever be able to choose your caste, right? White supremacy, even when everybody can be rainbow colored with orange eyes and pink skin, won't matter. Because it is the caste that you are assigned to, the place that you're assigned to under white supremacy that determines ultimately your outcome, right? So it definitely is a function.
So whiteism tends to define who you will be from the womb.
It has to, right? If white supremacy didn't make the effort that it does to inculcate its core ideas in everybody, regardless of ethnicity, it couldn't last. Right? We're not idiots. Like, I get sick and tired of people thinking that black people are dumb. We're not dumb, right? What we are is programmed. In a lot of cases, most of us are spouting off programming that we've been told for generations with no question, which again is partly why culture exists. You heard me say culture is what tells you what to do when there's no one that tells you what to do, right? Culture is what gives you your ability to walk a path when there's nobody saying go that way, right? Remember that story I told about the little girl who saw her mother cutting off the end of the ham?
Yes.
And they go back to great grandma and they say, great grandma, why you cut the end off the ham? She said, because I had a pan that wasn't big enough for the ham that I bought, right? With her, all the girls after her, all the women after her were cutting off the end of the ham with no question. That's culture, right? So it's we're at a point, and we have been for, I would argue, at least the last 4, maybe even 5 generations. So yes, this means your big mama was not a good woman, right? That we have not had good women, that we have not had women whose primary focus has been on the betterment of all of us, irrespective of the circumstances.
Now, I've met some good women. I can't say that I was born to a good woman or that she was born to a good woman.
Peace, Richard.
What I can say is that I've met good women. I've had women who've taken the place of my mother in my life when I needed it. So I've seen, and only maybe 2 of them have been white. So I've seen good women. Now, what I will say is that as a good woman, why have we let the ratchet rule the roost? That's my question. Why?
I got a question for you.
Oh, here we go. What?
I sure do. Why did you feel the need to elucidate upon the fact that you've seen good women?
Because you said they weren't. You didn't see it.
That's my point.
What do you mean?
So dig, right? Part of, okay, before I even say this, I'll just say this. There's a saying that I heard Christians say, right? That one of the greatest tricks that the devil ever pulled was convincing people he don't exist, right? Now, of course, I don't believe in no devils or anything like that, but
that was from the usual suspects. I'm just saying.
right. Well, that's a long-standing quote, actually. But with that having been said, right, one of the things that prevents us from truly giving this idea the treatment it deserves is the fact that even good women work to obfuscate the fact that good women are as few and far between as the sun is from the east and the west, right? Truth be told, as your brother, one who loves you, I think of good women like I think of cops.
Yeah.
Right? If there's so many good women out there, where the fuck are they to drop the hammer? Like, why should it be me as a man who has to speak up and say, wait a minute, I don't like this. This is bad. You're hurting us. This is deleterious. You're causing us harm. Where the hell is the good women at that is speaking out against the deleterious ratchet culture that goes across every social economic strata and the whole 9 yards?
Now that was actually the reason for this live stream. So you're right. If there are good women, we've sort of, if this was wrong, we've let the mob take over the Senate. So I never really understood why that was. In my own mind, I believe it is a sense of fear because they overpopulate us more. Like there's more of them than there is of us. So, and this supposedly being a democratic country.
Supposedly.
Supposedly being a democratic country, we back away and don't take responsibility for the women who are coming after us. Because in all honesty, if we are all the old good women, we birthed these ratchet chicks. We birthed them and then let them go on their way. And I wonder why. Like, would you say something for Panther?
You said, good women, please stand up.
I hear you. So, my own, like I said, my own experience with good women is it is few and far between.
Shout out my brother Tazaba for me.
Hey, Tazaba!
Thank you, Miss Dean.
How you doing, fam? So, my point is to this addendum is that perhaps I might have been a little wrong, and that they're being good women. Maybe that saying was just some feministic bullshit. I mean, it could be, but also know too that feminism was just another version of propaganda, another way for them to separate us from our men. Another way to kind of incite some sort of bullshit ass war that has never been a war. Men cannot, what you say, Black Fist? Men cannot check women. Good women need to shame this behavior and stop living vicariously through it. They think that if they say it's just behavior and
just entertainment.
Just entertainment, then it bears no consequence on the community. I like that, Black Fist.
You know what, Richard? I wanted to address his comment because he actually addressed it to me. He said, I was called an ain't shit man for the longest time, was very frustrated. Nowadays, I see the way so many women are. I don't mind being ain't shit because those women ignore me. I'm going to tell you, Richard, my life did not get better until I decided to not give a fuck. And I'm just going to keep it real with you, right? My mother raised me to be like the gentleman cat, right? To open doors for women, right? To carry the heavy, the traditional kind of cat, right? To want to please them and make them happy. I'm going to get me a woman who's a good woman. I'm going to work hard for her and this, that, and the third. So my 20s in this era of incentivized dysfunction was bullshit. It was pure hell. I went from chick to chick to chick, never getting respected, never getting treated like a human being treated like I held myself out to be, a tool, a utility, right? Until I woke up and said, you know what? This is some bullshit. Like, I have every right to live my life how the fuck I choose. And if they don't like it, they can kiss my ass.
And like I said before, men are not tools on the tool belt. Y'all are not just there to lift the heavy groceries and be the laborer. Some bitch be's an architect. Fuck all that shit.
Well, I mean, what the fuck is the point in doing that for somebody who ain't gonna appreciate it anyway? And even if you do it to the fullest, right? So the fucked up thing about being male today for us is that regardless of how it's like how black people are under white supremacy. You could wear after six clothing 24/7, speak the Queen's English, have a PhD, and none of that is gonna protect you when Zimmerman shows up, right? We can be work from 6:30 in the morning to 6:30 in the evening, come home, give somebody else the big piece of chicken, sit in our chair, not bother nobody, you know what I'm saying? Help wash the dishes afterwards and rub our woman feet before we go to bed. And it won't matter because she's not incentivized to see any of that as valuable, as a goodness. Matter of fact, it's gotten to the point now where dudes that do that make it worse for all the rest of us who won't. Right? We've had to label cats like that because they're causing harm to the black male collective. They're thinking these cats have women thinking that they can just operate in any fashion they want and still have their cake and eat it.
Right.
But if the dynamic is going to change, it has to start where the dynamic started. And this dynamic does not start with men. It starts with women, right? How in the hell, explain this one to me. How in the hell are we at a point where a bitch who's 17 years old can get knocked up with a baby?
Listen, family.
And every female in her family, plus all her females around her, throw her a baby shower. This dysfunctional ass behavior that we know has caused nothing but deleterious effects on our community is not only accepted as just par for the course, but is incentivized. You got women out here that are going out and getting pregnant just so they can get benefits. I'm tired of living with my mama. I'm going to go with my dude.
Exactly.
We're going to get a baby, and then we're going to move out, and we're going to go get Section 8. We're going to go do this. We're going to go do that.
Yeah.
Fuck out of here.
Yeah. And I mean, before Clinton changed the laws about
From AFDC to TANF? Yeah.
There were, from what I understood from the statistics, there were women who were continuously will have a baby another year after year after year just to keep her benefits. And I mean, damn.
But see, it's not just ADOS or black women,
No.
right? This shit is endemic to the culture, right? Like, everybody wants to jump on the black manosphere because black women are still one of the few sacred cows left in America, right? But in point of fact, the black manosphere is an offshoot of the manosphere, right? You got groups like a Voice for Men, ran by damn it, I forget his name. But A Voice for Men has been on the internet since like 2009, 2010, right? You got cats like John the Other. You had the MGTOW movement, right? The PUA movement, and so on and so forth. These were all started by white dudes who started to see that with the advent of no-fault divorce, the changes in family law to allow for men's families to just be broken up willy-nilly, and so on and so forth, they started rebelling. You had Warren Farrell who wrote the myth of male what was it, the myth of male supremacy or the myth of male dominance or something like that. This dude started off as a feminist. He was with people like Steinem.
I think I read that article. I read something about him. Yeah, because he said he used to be a feminist and now he really.
Yeah, he was hardcore feminist. You see what I'm saying? And
Elon.
Yeah, I you know what, Shar? I don't know the man's name. I have to look him up because I haven't been on that website in forever. But the manosphere wasn't basically the dominant society male reproof to the changes that we've seen over the last 3, 4, 5 generations that have changed the dynamic to where there's no incentive for a traditional male to be a traditional male, right? And the black manosphere is an offshoot of that. Your MGTOW brothers, your IPMOR brothers, your SYSBM brothers,
Yeah.
people like Angry Man and so on and so forth, BGS, etc. They understood that yes, the white boys have their thing, their particular issues, but they're not all the time
Not
speaking
always,
to,
yes.
because unlike the white boys, black maleness exists under a system, a subsystem of white supremacy that no other ethnic group exists under. We exist under a black female gynocracy. Gyn meaning female, krasi from kratos meaning rule. Black women rule our community, right? No other ethnic group of males have to deal with the fact that the females are in charge of their community.
You know, I read an article about the Black Manosphere. I was going to bring this on another live stream, but I think I'll bring it up now. So I read this article about the Black Manosphere using rage and lack of sex. I'll think about it. I'll think about the name of the article. I'll probably put it up a little later. So the article was saying that the Black Manosphere is an offshoot of the Manosphere, and it's both mostly MGTOWs and incels and people who couldn't get sex from women. I'm sorry, but like you could take a girl out for a donut and get some pussy. I'm just saying. Anyway, it was saying kind of all these really negative things, how they're using their rage to kind of get back at women, and then this phrase they put up, because the black woman is the backbone of the community. My only question to that is, and how the fuck has that worked for us? How has that worked? How has us, black women, ADOS women, running the community worked for us so far? Like I said in my post, for some reason, black women have gotten it in their minds that black men are supposed to die, begin and end with them, to be in service to them.
I wish you had just stopped with die, because that's the ultimate result of the caricature. You do understand that, right? Dr. Curry said that the creation of the caricature is the precursor or the forerunner of the social death of black males and black masculinity as a prelude to their physical demise, right? In our community, the only time somebody has anything good to say about a black man usually is when he's dead. You go to a black man's funeral. Cerulean in the house. Shout out and salute to the commanders, sir. We operating, we doing work, we on deck. Let me shout out to my man Double Cease too. Jeremiah Wins is in the house. Richard, hey, I appreciate you sharing your feedback, brother. Yeah, Richard saying speak up. You know what I'm saying? Speak from your chest, nigga. Right? And let me make sure we got everybody else. Yeah, Paul Elam was the cat that I was talking about that founded A Voice for Men. Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
But when you said that black women believe that it is the black male's job to die, you don't know how true of a statement that is. We raise our boys in a death culture. Right? When you take a young boy, right? Okay. Beautiful young boy, right? Little chocolate drop of a cute ass little young boy, right? And you harden him beyond any type of recognition of humanity, right? He can't cry. He can't express himself. He can't say anything. He can't be anything but a flesh-like automaton, right? You stunt his emotional growth that way.
Right.
You stunt his mental growth by putting him in situations where his learning styles and capabilities are taken off the table right off the bat. Because black male children learn, we know now, through the study of psychology, primarily kinesthetically, meaning getting their hands on something, and by visual, by seeing it. But the Prussian school system is primarily an auditory system for transmitting information.
Yeah.
So sitting a black boy in an environment such as that is a recipe for disaster right from the get-go. And it's not because he can't be interested in the subject matter or anything like that. You're just not communicating the information to him in a way that makes sense to him, that ties it to his body, right? Because he needs that connection, that tangible connection to the information. And he also needs to be able to see it so he can ape it and emulate it, right? So you do that and you stunt his mental growth, right? The only thing that is then left is to damage him physically. So we have our women beating our boys like there's no tomorrow, right? Or letting their male proxies hurt them. The sexual debut for black males is the lowest level of any child's sexual debut in this country. Because every child, there's very few children that make it to adulthood without having experienced their sexual debut. That's just America. But black boys' sexual debut is 12 years old, right? I'm sorry, go ahead.
Son of a Panther. Son of a Panther said, "Weave is the canary in the coal mine."
No, I think he meant what?
Did you mean?
Did you mean weave, or did you mean we as
Right.
men are the canaries in the coal mine?
That's why I was like, wait.
Because that's funny too, but I just.
Well, it's like women want to wait and absent. Like, man, Son of a Panther, you ain't never lied.
But hold on a second.
Wait.
That's not even abnormal. Like, again, that's part of the programming, right? White is right. Like, if you're white, you're all right. If you're brown, sit down. If you're black, get in the back. That's the programming, right? Okay, so that's not even shocking that black women want to embrace or have the bomb of white acceptance.
Now, here's the thing. Here's what I've always said when he and I have had this conversation. If y'all remember my, the fairy tales video, and I said that I wanted to be Erica Kane, I wanted to be Cinderella, Snow White.
From your chest, sister, from your chest.
That I wanted to be them white bitches.
Yes.
That is because through that TV that we got in the room, we were told in no uncertain terms, that is what you should reach for, but you can never have. You can never be white and beautiful. You got to be black and ugly. So part of me is like, yeah, black women do want to be white or as close to white as possible, but that is also programming, which is why they wear weave and wear makeup and and not that I don't wear wigs or wear makeup or whatever, but I've learned now that shit don't, it is only there to enhance me, my beautiful self, not to change me for somebody else's standard. So yes, Sandra Panther, yes, black women want to be white.
Black Uru, by the way, shout out to you, Black Uru. Where the fuck you been? I ain't seen you at quite a few sucker-free Saturdays. You know I'm gonna preach your funeral. Black Uru said there are more black males born in the U.S. than there are black females, yet there are 3 million more living black females. There is a culture of killing black males. Sadly, black women play a role. Absolutely. The only thing I can say to that is facts, right? Remember the emotional destruction of black maleness, the mental destruction of black maleness, ultimately will lead to the physical destruction of black maleness, right? What you have after the black male enculturation process, right? Because I can't describe it as anything else, is you have a male with all the physical male capabilities, but without a mind. Right? We are never treated as minds, as beings, right? We are treated as machines. So whichever female or the culture at large puts a battery in our back and programs the marching orders, that's what we're supposed to do. Right. How many times have we seen, even in upper socioeconomic strata, black women engaged in fuckery who then go and get their male relatives involved in shit like that. And next thing you know, somebody's blood is running in the gutter. That shit is cliche, right? That happens
So
every
cliche,
damn day.
It's not movies and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that happens every single day.
I just think that if there are good women out there, then we really need to stand up to who we are not letting rule this community, because it's just going to keep going downhill. And they're going to keep using black men. There are going to be more women like that girl on Facebook, Nikki Buchanan, saying that shit. And like I said in the video, there were black women sitting there saying, oh, no, negative things, but not because she said it. Because she let the cat out the motherfucking bag. So I don't know about any other women. I know that for me, I'm a seer ratchet, and I'm a checker. I know why. I think I know why. If only in my mind, why we haven't really done it. I think we haven't done it because there's so many of them out there, and to tell them how to live their lives is a recipe for disaster. But if we don't check them, they just gonna bring us even more further down. Then they don't value nothing but what they can get next. According to Grinch. Peace, Kendra.
Kendra's in the house. Peace, Kendra. And Eugene, shout out to you. Welcome to the broadcast. Miss Denny, you too nice.
What you mean?
I really think you too nice.
How you feel?
Because let's just keep it real. Sisters love a good story. Right? The bitch who had a mother who was competing with her for sexual favors from dudes, right? Who grew up in this environment of dysfunction, right? Encouraged to embrace dysfunction, who was taught basically from the cradle that she is God, she's the leader of the community, she's the boss applesauce, right? She run the show and everybody just better bow down at the altar of her greatness, right? And the whole 9 yards. Every woman in our culture, it seemed like it's taught that. So when she grows up and inevitably starts to express that dysfunction, whether it's having a belly full of baby at an early ass age, or whether it's damaging ass relationships with men over and over again that end up busting up, whether she's riding the dick carousel 24/7 and so on and so forth. Right. All she has to do to get so-called good women to do nothing, because this is old saying that all it takes for evil to reign supreme is for good people to do nothing, right? All she has to do to get so-called good women to do nothing to her is just tell a goddamn sob story. Y'all are and you know what? Y'all programmed that way. Yeah, everything that y'all taught derives from stories. From Cinderella to Snow White to fucking Rapunzel to whatever the fuck, right? To Dynasty, to Dallas, to fucking Scandal, everything, because there's a real tie between storytelling and sociability, right? And since we know that being social creatures and women being the social creatures that they are, right? It makes sense that stories will resonate with you. The problem is that the stories that you're being fed are self-serving, first of all. They go to reinforce the narrative that niggas ain't shit, right? So, because there ain't no ratchet ass bitch out there that's gonna tell you, well, I had me a good dude, he respected the shit out of me, but I was just too dumb to see it, because that would involve too much self-reflection. Right? That would involve introspection and reflection. And we know that if there's one thing that the ratchet is allergic to, it's reflection and introspection.
According to Grinch's book, what do they do? Deflect and deny.
Yep, deflect, deny, and discredit, like white supremacy. When we talk about white supremacy hurting us as black people, what do white folks do? They deflect. Oh well, I never had a slave. I never did this and that, right? So they deflect. Or they gaslight you and say, well, no, it's really not as bad as what you're talking about. I know one black person over here, right? So they deny that it even exists.
And put up their token.
And when they can't deflect or deny, then they work to discredit you. Well, if you guys would just pull your pants up and do what the cops tell you, and so on and so forth, right? That's how white supremacy operates. Well, black women operate with us the same damn way.
And I said that. This is why I say fucker story.
Right, Kendra?
Charles Faulkner, woo!
Woo! Girl, you gotta say it from your chest.
Okay, I'm done with you. Anyway, I said the same thing in the blog post. I said we are now treating you. We're stepping and fetching and cooning and treating you like the white
folks,
black people. I've said that, and the thing is that it's so true, because we have become, oh, y'all can't talk about us. Y'all can't tell me to correct my behavior because I done been through too much. I done seen too much. I done did too much. And now I'm going to do what the fuck I want to do. Yeah, that's some bullshit. I'm sorry. That's some bullshit. That's absolute fuckery. And what you need is to be checked. And what you need is for mama to check you.
You know, Miss Denny, when I agreed to do this broadcast, right? I agreed because, first of all, as you well know, although I'm the ADOS advocate, you know, my people all day, every day, and I love both my sisters and my brothers, I also am a dyed-in-the-wool associate member of the Black Manosphere.
Right.
The things that are near and dear to my heart are black males and black masculinity specifically, right? Especially in this transformational moment that we exist in as ADOS folk, right? What I ultimately want to say is that just like we are having to have this reckoning, this come to Jesus moment with white supremacy in this country, we black men, it is time for us to have a reckoning and a come to Jesus moment with the black woman, with the ADOS woman. She has long been incentivized to put her males into the grave by any means necessary. We see it. That's important to note. Because once upon a time, y'all could spin this shit off on us. But you got thinking brothers out here who have looked at the dynamic and said, wait a minute, this is some fuckery. And we're not being silent anymore. You know, it's like ADOS setting the boundaries and immigrants being all in their feelings and shit and so on and so forth, right? Black men are now setting their boundaries and saying, wait a minute, we're not going to be your little flesh robots that you can stick a battery in our back and make us do whatever the fuck you want us to do. This isn't going to fly. Our community is dysfunctional, and our women are raising us to be dysfunctional. And y'all need to fix this shit, or we're going to fix it for you and not going to like how we do it. Now, it's, oh, y'all hate women. But I don't know a black man, even if he was abused like a motherfucker by his mama, who don't love his mama. Why? Because you cannot help it. That is what you have been acculturated. Look, I had to forgive my mother a whole bunch of ill-ass shit she did, right? I had to. If I was going to have any further interaction with her, you see what I'm saying? But in point of fact, she never earned my respect, my esteem. Nearly every choice she made was in some way either deleterious to her or to us or both, right? So she was not this grand caretaker who sacrificed everything for the sake of her children. She was selfish. She was harsh when she didn't necessarily need to be. And she made a lot of fucked up ass choices that cost all of her children dearly. My brother is dead today because of the life he experienced. He experienced such a traumatic life as an ADOS man that facing his third strike, he decided to pull the trigger. And isn't it funny? And I hope my mother never takes this ill, but I think it's strangely telling that where he chose to do that was sitting on my mother's sofa. This is not slighting her, but if she's smart, she would introspect and understand what ultimately drove that dynamic.
Well, I will tell you.
Go
Hey,
ahead,
black
nigga.
man.
Do
Hey,
your
black man.
thing.
Hey, black man. You're not late. You right on time. So what I will tell you is that my mother was a 16-year-old girl when she had me. And she had it rough. There wasn't no baby showers for her. There wasn't no celebrating the life of little Miss Jennifer. No, there wasn't none of that. She was called a whore. She was called all kinds of things. And then as she was having me, as she was in labor, they were telling her this is exactly what she deserves. And then from there, I probably didn't see her until I was about 4 or 5. And my point is that our relationship from jump was really fucked up. And then I turned 12 and things got even worse because she met a man that she wanted to build a life with that included me, but also included 4 other children I didn't know. And things got progressively worse. The man that she was with wanted me. He touched me. He did fucked up things to not only me physically but to me mentally. Because I was 12. I had no fucking idea of, like, all I wanted was actual real life attention. Because my life before that was just, I was the child in the corner. So, and all I ever wanted, from the time I knew who she was to be in her life. And then I was there in her life, and then her man decided that I was old enough to experience sex, to experience what that looked like, what it felt like. And then she turned against me. You know, she turned against me. I left. But that's not where the fracture began. But that was where the fracture became a fissure. And I couldn't trust her after that. Because it didn't matter what choice she made. Whatever choice she made in her life, the choice didn't include me. It didn't include taking care of me. And I get it. She was 16. I get it. I do. But I also didn't ask to be here.
That's facts. What Kendra just said, because I never want to cut you off.
Right.
But I was gonna address what you just said, and since Kendra kind of initiated it, I'm gonna go ahead with your permission,
Absolutely.
of course, and go in. Sorry about the fan family; it's a little warm up in here.
Yeah, I'm sweating my ass off.
So, Miss Denny, that story is hellacious, right? There's nobody who would hear that story that you just told and not feel some kind of way. Now, I want to share with you something that you may not have realized. That right there is the greatest weapon of the ratchet. Let me explain. Your story is painful, it's poignant, it's heart crushing. You feel me? And if you so chose, that story could explain every behavior you ever engage in. Every one. Now, our broadcast or our listeners know my story, right? They know about my upbringing and shit like that. Here's a key difference though between you and I. Regardless of how traumatic my story was, how painful it was, and it was, right? Just like yours was. Nobody's taking that away from you. Mark Black don't get to use that as an excuse for any goddamn thing. Regardless of whatever trauma I may have faced, whatever things that I've experienced, whatever shit I went through, nigga, I better find a way to work it out. That's no bullshit.
I believe
That's
you.
no bullshit, right?
I've seen that.
But Because of that, we no longer as a people have the luxury of allowing you, not you specifically, but the general you, to dwell in the place where your stories define your life.
Absolutely.
Right? If we have to, in spite of sometimes our upbringing, figure it out, then you motherfuckers do too. Right? I'm not saying what you went through was good or bad. No, it was fucked up. Right? You experienced some horrible ass trauma that still fuck with you to this day.
But I go to therapy. I do my best not to use my situation.
No. See, you taking it personal, and it was not personal.
That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that I get that.
Yeah.
I've seen that.
Yeah.
I've seen women do that.
But you not only have seen women do it, to an extent, you've done it. Right? And you know you have. Mm-hmm. Every single woman gets that. Look, you can't create an environment where yeast will grow and then be surprised when you see yeast. Right? You can't create an environment where a woman's life is defined by her stories and not expect women to use their stories as tools, as weapons. Right? Mm-hmm. That's just not how the fuck it's gonna happen. Right. My advice to my sisters is this. Y'all need to man the fuck up. Y'all need to man up. And I'm saying that truthfully, because your men, to any degree of success that we find ourselves in this culture, is never because of. It is always in spite of. Right? How many brothers have had ideas that could change the world, sat down and had a conversation with a woman and got up dejected, and we never even heard about it? How many men have gone through absolute pure fuckery and then understands clearly that if he expresses it, he either looks like a bitch or nobody's gonna take him serious anyway. They're gonna gaslight him. You dig? So what the fuck is the point of all of us pretending that stories actually mean shit? If stories don't mean shit when it comes to men, then they shouldn't mean shit when it come to women. In other words, sister, that's a horrible situation you've been through, and I'm sorry that you had to go through it. Now what the fuck you gonna do? That's where we need to be. That's where y'all, sisters, need to be with these ratchet ass bitches who use their stories as defining moments to justify their dysfunction and their fuckery. Y'all need to be on some, sister, wow. That's, be empathetic. Wow, that was some wild shit. Now what you gonna do to fix it?
Now, since you cut me off,
I didn't try to cut you off. I asked if you were finished.
Well, yes, of course.
Go ahead.
No, the reason I told the story was because as I was reading Grinch's book, I could, like I said before, I could see aspects of what I have done in my teens and 20s towards black men. I can see aspects of who my mother is and probably will be till she dies. My mother uses her story to continue to make me feel bad because, oh my gosh, she was 16 and she had nobody, and I need to be more understanding, and I need to forget. I told a story to tell you that she uses her story to just continue to dwell in the same bullshit. I have at times used my story, but with the help of a wonderful Indian woman who I have therapy with, I don't feel the need to use it or let it be a weapon for me to do bullshit. I just think that we haven't checked them for a reason. What's the reason? What's the reason we haven't checked the ratchet?
See this, y'all? This is the spotlight. I'm not gonna front. I've thought about this somewhat. Not a great deal, right? And you know, I got a lot of shit I think about. But I have thought about this somewhat. And the answer I continually come up with is the reason why the so-called good woman doesn't check the ill woman is because the ill woman justifies the good woman. Right? Like, you remember that broadcast I did called A Study in Contrasts? Right? In order to know what's good, you have to have bad, right? Good women benefit from the existence of the ratchet.
Okay. In what way?
I'll tell you in what way.
Check the big split to separate ourselves from her.
Good women benefit from the existence of the ratchet because the ratchet makes women who are okay. So good, just like anything else, is relative, right? In other words, it's subjective. There are varying levels of good, right? There are motherfuckers out there that are just angels, right? That are just motherfuckers that descended from heaven that the whole world is the better off for knowing, right? And then there's the motherfuckers who just don't really do a lot of bad shit. Like they're not going out of their way to be good, right? They're just not bad. Okay, so they're like basically just over neutral, right? And everything in between.
Right.
Okay, now a lot of women who are just kind of over neutral, right? Who ain't really good women. They're not bad, right? They're not these dysfunctional ass motherfuckers, but these women will not go out of their way. They won't be good to the fullest extent they can be good, right? Are getting passes because of the existence of the ratchet, right? The existence of the ratchet makes them bitches look like they're really good women. Like if you had a rating scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most bomb ass sister that could ever exist,
Right.
and 1 being this basic bottom shelf almost neutral bitch, right? The existence of -3s, -5s, -7s kind of moves the curve, right? So instead of this basic bitch who could be better but can't be asked to put in the effort, she don't have to put in the effort because all she has to do is point to the existence of the ratchet. Be like, you lucky you got a woman like me. You could have a bitch like that. Right? It's kind of like how liberal white folks do black people, right? Liberal white folks go, well, you know, God, it's those Ku Klux Klan guys. Right? Because the Ku Klux Klan is so goddamn bad that liberal white folks can be shit heels but look like saints.
Right.
Good women don't check the ratchets because they benefit from the existence of the ratchet. It makes everybody who's good look even that much better. So even if you are a decent sort, right? You're not out here, committing random acts of ratchetry and fuckery. At any point to really get a foothold on your man, all you have to do, because this is how the gynocracy continues. There are good women out there, but the gynocracy continues because all of the women in the gynocracy use fear to control their men, right? The ratchet uses direct fear of physical harm, threats to the mentality, and all of that to hurt men.
Similar to the girl on Instagram, she rapes niggas.
Right. That bitch like, I rapes niggas. If I want one, I rape him. And so bitches like that, right?
Right.
But good women also use fear by pointing to the existence of the ratchet. Why you asking me to do this and that? You know what I'm saying? Ain't I good to you? I don't do this and point to the ratchet. I don't do that and point to the ratchet. So instead of pushing her to be better, right? Because she wants you to grow. As a male, any woman who's with a man who's not seeking constantly to do better ain't gonna be with him for long. That's hypergamy, right? You're always looking for opportunities to either boost the man you got or trade up,
Level up,
right? To level up. So you always want him to fucking grow. You always want him to be better. But you want to be able to kind of rest on your laurels and be like, well, I'll cook for him every so often, and I suck his dick, and he should be happy. Nah, bitch, you got to level up too. You see what I'm saying? But because of the existence of the ratchet, you don't have to. Because he knows that, well, she ain't like the bomb, but she ain't that bitch, and I don't want to go out there and run the risk of running across this bitch.
Right.
So I guess I'm cool where I'm at. It's forcing black men to settle for substandard interactions with women. In my humble opinion, that's what I truly believe. And I know it seems like that's filled with malice, but it's not. What it is it's self-serving. Self-serving doesn't necessarily have to be malicious. All right? But we do have to call out self-serving behavior where it exists. Good women benefit from the existence of the ratchet, and that's why they won't call the ratchet out, in my humble opinion. Now, I would love to know what you have to say on it.
Well, I think it's a couple of things. I think a lot of it is just, I know for me in particular, I would feel like, who the fuck am I to call some crazy bitch out? At one point in time, I did those things. Or I might have put myself in a particular position to do what she's doing. So who am I to call her out? Also, you're absolutely right when you talk about fear. And I don't just mean fear for putting the black man in his place. I think it's fear for us too.
Yeah. Fear of losing what you got. Right, because ratchets fear irrelevance.
Right, they have to pop.
Right, ratchets got to have it popping. Right, they always want to be the center of attention. Right, that's the currency of the ratchet. And I'm not talking about just black women, but we're talking about black women in this milieu, right? But the currency of the ratchet is attention. She don't give a fuck how she get it. She just want it. She don't care if it's negative attention or positive attention. She wants attention. Right, so she got to keep things cracking. That bitch is always on the go. She's like a squirrel, running back and forth for attention. Attention's like nuts. She got to get them, right? Okay, right? That's her currency. But for the good woman, her currency is fear. She uses fear to make trades, right? To get what she needs. But if she does that, and here's the most important question I think we'll probably have asked throughout this entire broadcast. Is she good? If she's so willing to essentially force any male attention that she gets to accede to her dominion through the threat of the ratchet, and that's her currency, that's all she seems to be bringing to the table, is that I ain't that bitch. Then is she really good?
Yeah, I don't know. That makes a good point. That is a really good point. Is she good? And I mean, to me, finding a good one is like you have 1,000 snakes at your gate. And you're looking for the non-venomous snake.
The one that won't poison you.
The one that won't poison your ass and kill you in 8 seconds. That, to me, is finding a good one.
And that's why a lot of brothers have embraced the MGTOW, the save yourself black men. That's why SBM movement, it more. That's why you see these brothers who just simply have decided that there is nothing that's worth the risk of being bitten by that one in 1,000 snakes.
Right. I mean, it's hard because I would think, like I said, when I was younger, I met good women. I met women who were good to me,
So, yeah, the commander said it's the threat of prospective loss used to force males to placate to their subtle abuses. I have one word to say to that, Commander. Facts.
Richard said,
Darker visions in the house. Greetings, brother. I think Darker Visions is a brother. Darker Visions. We can't tell from the avatar, brother or sister, because I don't mean no disrespect. And I want to honor you with your proper title. Let us know. Right? Because we've been actually, on the back end, Darker Visions, we've been talking about, is Darker Visions a female or is that a brother? I think it's a brother. But, you know, I'm like, that's a brother. And then Miss Denny's like, are you sure? Because so we want to know. Inquiring minds want to know. Right? You know what, Miss Denny? I think now it's your show, right? You the boss.
Since you've been talking all the time.
No, you the boss.
Right.
But we should look at some of the comments and address some of the comments.
Absolutely.
You driving, nigga?
Oh wait, wow. Okay, cool. Sorry. So I'm scrolling all the way back up. Then is that what I'm doing?
Yeah, just scroll up and take a look and pick out comments and. Okay. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to, damn, all the way to the top.
You said scroll up.
We've addressed some of them.
Okay, Negro, you ain't shit. I'm just
Black people.
This is their elders, they're smart for their wealth. They have no accounts, bills, father, health insurance, passed down. Brother is like, oh, well, you're on your own.
Girl, will you read the comment out loud?
Okay, fine. I was wondering if it was good. Why you gotta be so...
You know what? I'm just going to sit over here and look pretty.
Okay, so Blackfist says something way up at the top. Forgive me, I think it's really good. He said, absolutely, sis. Our elders are spending up all their wealth. They have no accounts, businesses, property, health insurance, etc. to pass down. They look at us like, oh, well, you're on your own. Okay. Yes! Yep. Absolutely. If your parents are boomers, you ain't gonna have nothing. I don't even think they have life insurance.
Man, I'm telling you, Xers should be the most mad generation of Americans in this motherfucker, man. Because Xers got fucked 3 ways to Sunday.
Not only that, they also called us the slacker generation. That we ain't gonna be shit.
Yeah, we wasn't about shit. We wasn't gonna be shit. We wasn't gonna do shit.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
Yeah, Blackfist was spot on with that one.
There you go. And then let's see what else.
We addressed that one from Son of a Panther.
We did. Okay. Asian.
Yep.
We did.
That's all I'm saying. We addressed quite a few of these.
Okay, we're gonna go down then.
By the way, shout out to whoever brought up Teen Mom, because you notice I kept saying that ratchet behavior isn't limited to ethnicity. There's white ratchets, black ratchets, Latino ratchets, Arab ratchets. Right?
Okay. Let me see. Black Uhuru.
Yeah, that was I addressed that one.
And then black women consciously and subconsciously encourage and facilitate behaviors and circumstances of extreme black.
Yep.
Facts. Okay. I grew up in Chicago in the 70s and 80s, saw lots of black peers die off, and in most cases, there were some women somewhere who caused and or benefited from what got those boys men killed.
Thank you. Like, you remember Alton Sterling when he got killed, right? And his family was up there doing the press conferences and shit, talking about the death of Alton Sterling and how it was horrible what happened and all of that. Then they started talking settlement. Notice how quickly the family got quiet?
Not only that, the dude from LA, the one who, I'm sorry, I really can't remember his name. I apologize. He passed away. He was dating, he only dated Vietnamese women. And his brother came out.
Oh, yeah, I know who you talking about. His brother that wilded out at that big ass meeting and ran for like mayor and shit. Stephon Clark.
That's it, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, his family, I believe his family was kind of doing the same thing.
Oh, don't worry, we'll go back.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then also, when you were talking about how black men are oversexed, it made me think of Tamir Rice. How cops thought he was a grown man at 12 years old.
You think?
Like, it made me think of, like, I gave this example once in my blog post. Can't remember which one, sorry, so much shit. I gave the example of 2 children in the street playing. One a little boy, one a little girl. and they both fall down and hurt themselves and start crying. Crying to beat the band, right? So the parents of the little girl go to her, pick her up, and give her a hug and tell her it's gonna be okay, kiss her boo boos. The parents of the black boy, they tell his ass to stop crying and be a man. What does a 4-year-old know about being a man? Matter of fact,
Facts.
what do we as women know
About being
a
men.
man? We don't know shit. We don't even be standing up. I'm just saying, like we don't know anything about what it takes to be y'all. We don't know the physicality you have to go through. Like I seen it when I was younger and I was in school in gym class. And I was how they make y'all climb the rope and they'll make y'all do this and do that and I always wondered why, you know? And my thought was just like the thought I had about beating children. Was that we're trying to make you tough because the world is tough. And that's bullshit. That's real bullshit.
Don't even get me started. You know I could go all day on that shit. I'm
not.
I'm good. I'm being good.
I'm just saying a lot of that is just programming. And I mean, crazy as Kanye West.
I'm gonna go and subscribe to Darker Vision's channel real quick.
Yeah,
because he's got videos up.
He's a brother. What peace, brother?
You just got another sub, Darker Visions. Thank you, brother, for letting us know.
Because we ain't know. We really didn't know. We were talking about it for. I swear that's.
You know what? I ain't gonna lie, sister. I'm glad as fuck that we got the ratchetologist in the house, Dr. Sister Kendra D in this motherfucker. Because she, I'm telling you, she should have a PhD in ratchetology. Because she runs down to us on the constant, the psychology of the ratchet. She said something here that I think we definitely need to speak on.
She said the ratchet uses fear against the non-ratchet as well. Remember that these are our family members. They use the fear of separation and excommunication.
Abso-fucking-lutely.
You are so right, Kendra.
That's the only thing that works.
And you know something, Kendra? I want you to know that every time I go watch one of your videos, I learn something new, and I always feel good watching it. You know, even if you be cursing them out and saying, you know, bitch, I love to watch your videos. I really do. I'm a fan.
Sister Kendra is spot on. That's the only tool that actually ultimately works against all of us is the fear of separation and isolation, right? You know, I always say that the lone wolf dies, but the pack survives, right? Part of the reason why black men are dying mentally, emotionally, and physically at the rate we are is because of our enforced isolation, right? Even if you look at other species, right? Let's look at the elephant.
Okay.
The elephant herd is the mothers, right, with the babies, right? So it's the females.
Right.
They herd up and they wander from place to place of shit, right? Wait, the bulls also herd up. Elephant bulls herd up, right? The only time you see any friction between elephant bulls is when it's mating season, right? Because, you know, they try to compete to be able to mate with the females of the herds, right? But the rest of the time, bull elephants wander together in groups. Even though they are cast out of their birth herd, so to speak, right? They still squad up because a lone elephant is food to a bunch of shit out there, right? You know what I'm saying? But black males are encouraged to roam this world alone, right? Look at all the shit that we get told. It's a cold world. Niggas gotta supply their own heat. You know what I'm saying? A nigga can't sleep where he don't spin. You know, and shit like that, right? We get told that no matter what happens, the only person you can ever count on is you, right? So we have more dysfunction than a damn herd of elephants.
I do have a question for you. Why are all of our interactions transactional?
Because social interaction requires reciprocity, right? So, being an ADOS advocate, what's the word I use most? Justice, right? What is justice? Justice ultimately is a measure of reciprocity, right? I do for you, you do for me. You do me a harm, you restore me as best you're able from the harm you done me. Justice, reciprocity. Social cohesion requires reciprocity, which is why in ancient tribal societies, the worst person in the society was the selfish motherfucker. The one who wouldn't share shit, right? The one you couldn't count on to help you pound out the millet. The one who you couldn't count on to share some of the meat when they went out and had a good day and the rest of the brothers fell off, right? That motherfucker didn't last long in a social group because that behavior is inherently antisocial, right? But here's the thing. The programming in this culture programs people to be hyper individualist. But because everybody else understands that it's programming, because remember, black folk are the only motherfuckers that actually play by the rules. Everybody else cheats like a son of a bitch. Right? When white folks discover that they've been sold a bill of goods, they the most anti-bill of goods motherfuckers on the planet Earth. They're like, I'm not listening to this bullshit. This is bullshit. This was nothing like what you told us in school. Fuck you. Fuck you. White folks will give up religion. White folks will give up family. White folks will give up everything for the truth. Right? Now, this is not to say that they're better than us, but this is to highlight the difference. We're all fed the same bullshit. And we all come to the realization at some point that it's bullshit. But black folks still seem to think that, well, yeah, that might be bullshit, but we better do it anyway because that's what everybody else is doing. Everybody else is lying. Everybody else is cheating. Everybody else is doing whatever it takes to get the motherfucking bag. Well, we still obey the rules. Why is that? Because, again, we, being social creatures, are seeking reciprocity, even if it's dysfunctional, maladaptive reciprocity. So because of this hyper-individualism, it forces every interaction to be transactional. Right? There can't be no gimmies under individualism, because under individualism, if I'm gaining, you're losing. There is no we, right? So every interaction has to be quid pro quo, tit for tat. I get mine and you get yours. Otherwise, under individualism, we're thinking we're getting bopped.
That's like the whole propaganda of the independent woman.
Oh.
Yeah, see, I believe the word, if I'm right, because I could have been, stuttering or whatever when they said, it's interdependent. None of us are alone. None of us, we all require socialism, to be social. And we all need each other. There's no way in the world that, I like that Eugene Turner, the banana in the tailpipe.
Yep.
There you go. There's no way in the world that we can all be independent and still thrive and survive. Why do you think that the whole lone wolf dies? It sounds good. It's because it's true.
Because it's true. Shit. Sorry, I got the hiccups. But it's true as fuck.
It's true. Like, there's no independence. Like, even the woman who wrote the song went from her mama's house to her husband's house. How the hell was she independent? Somebody speak black. Tell me. Talk black.
Right? Talk make that shit make sense.
Like, so, no, there's no such thing as independence. It is all interdependent.
Matter of fact, if you Christian, the Bible speaks specifically on it. It said, for this reason does a man leave the household of his mother and father and cleave with his woman, and they become one flesh. They are one person. Yes. Two people become one person and become greater than the sum of the individual parts. That's the whole point behind being social creatures, right? But this hyper-individualistic milieu under which we exist as ADOS people tell us that that's some sucker shit. Yeah. What you mean you need me? The fuck? I don't need you, nigga. Right? Fuck you. I I don't need shit from you. I can do it all by myself.
All by myself. I don't need no help.
I am independent. I make my own money. Don't tell me how to spend it. Bitch, shut up. Get the fuck out of here. You make your own money. Unless your ass have your own business, which based off the data means you got an employee base of 1, your black ass, you are not making your own money. You making the money that the white folks is letting you make.
Because they did what? They cut the check. Just saying.
Right?
Into that. So, Mark, what?
See?
Why don't you go through the comments and pick one up and talk about it?
Ah, God damn it. All right.
I think that's what we left off. Wait, come back in.
No, we left off here because we touched on
No,
that one by the
'cause-
commander.
No, because we also touched on the one by Kendra.
Yeah, but that was because I had scrolled all the way down to the bottom.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Do you?
Okay. No, it's all good. I just let me pick out a comment here. Richard off the chain. Peter's septic service. I bet you didn't have to worry about no females fucking with you at all. Darker Visions said people are stuck on idea of humans as apex predators. I would agree. And then don't forget the whole pseudoscience behind alpha, beta, sigma, gamma. I mean, black people still use that shit. Some black people I esteem still still use that shit. You know what I'm saying? Because what we fail to understand is that yes, while we do predate upon nature, our existence is not predatory, right? It never has been and it never will be. We didn't evolve to be completely predatory, right? A predatory species cannot domesticate another species. Did you know that? How many predatory species like cats? Do you see cats with pets?
No.
Why?
Because that don't work.
Cats are predators.
Right. So you're talking about big cats like lions.
I'm talking about cats. You don't see predatory species out there farming other species, right? Because farming requires the concept of interdependence, right? I will give resources to the cow to raise the cow up. And in return, I will extract from the cow milk, calves, meat, hides, so on and so forth. That's interdependence. That's not predation. If we were apex predators, we would have no agriculture. We would have no horticulture. Right? So there's a lot of pseudo-scientific bullshit that is extant in the black community. The whole alpha, beta, sigma, delta, gamma, Greek bullshit. That's it's pseudo. The author of the study that initially put that out came out 20 years later and said, no, I was completely wrong. It turns out that the wolf packs that he was studying wasn't made up of an alpha male and an alpha female. That was the mother and father of the pack. The pack members were the children of the founding mother and father. And the founding mother and father were being respected by their children. It had nothing to do with dominance. It had to do with interdependence. So great comment, Darker Visions. Your turn, my knuckle.
Okay. Start the golden sunflower. You wait on. It's about the living in itself, right? Okay. Why do you want to say with dog ass dudes?
I don't know why women stay with dog ass dudes. I don't know why dudes stay with dog ass bitches. I can't. Like, I'm 46 years old and I'll be goddamn. Like, there's no way in here. Like, I'm the anti-ratchet. I'm serious. I have an anti-ratchet aura. It's like, bitch, you know not to eat. Don't even think about it. Don't even think about it.
I was just trying to see if you was.
Poof, you a mushroom. Fuck you. I don't know why people stay with dog ass people. Right? I think part of it has to do with, at least somebody appear like they want you. Like, black people settle Way
Well,
too
I mean,
easy for
it's also
dysfunction, for bullshit.
it's also until you work on yourself and realize that you don't want to be alone, so you want to settle for whatever you got. So, like that for me was a thing too. Like I was like, well, I don't want to be alone, and he looked cute. He can talk to me, bro. That's
I ain't
crazy.
gonna front. The older I get, the more red pill I get. Seriously, like it's cray. I think all the time. I'm like, man, if I don't have a single woman around me, my life would be gooder than a motherfucker. It really would. I love. Don't get me wrong. I love you, Miss D. I love my wife. I love everybody. You know, all the women in my life. But I can also see my ass being happy as fuck without having to deal with not a near another one. Not a near another one. You feel me? Right? Peace to you, Adrian.
Thank you, Adrian.
And thanks for the like.
Appreciate you.
Miss Diddy, it's Friday, my nigga. And I know our people probably want to get started with their weekend and shit. So, you know, final thoughts, like, you know what I'm saying?
All right. Let me see. Final thoughts. My final thoughts are this. I think that as if you view yourself as a good woman, if more than not you're on the higher scale of, you know, mark scale you put up, good woman, angel. If you are a good woman and your family member or somebody you don't even know, you see them being ratchet, call them out on it. It's not going to change unless we decide to make it to make a change. And they're going to be ratchet. They just can't be ratchet around you. Feel me? They're gonna if you don't want that kind of energy around you, even if they are your family members, sometimes you gotta cut off that family members. Right now, I'm gonna talk to my mom, and I won't. Not for a while anyway. So you have to remove
The toxicity.
the toxicity out your life, and that is actually my final thought. What about you, sir?
I ain't nice. And fuck them motherfuckers, man. That's real talk. Like, these psychopathic, life-destroying, ice-cold water running through their veins, having self-absorbed, self-interested, narcissistic, wild-ass pieces of crap. Fuck that. Smash them. Like, family, at some point, we're going to have to decide it's either us or them, right? Like, all dysfunction in our community can be extirpated. And all it requires is two things. Number one, that we know what it will cost, what it will take to extirpate it. And two, being willing to pay that price. Right? If we understand what it will actually take to root out the ratchet and the strag from our community and be willing at any and every cost to pay that price, they're done. And we will actually see a healing unlike we've ever fucking known as ADOS people. Family, this ADOS thing is bigger than politics. This is life, right? Our ancestors gave birth to the children of the impossible. We've been doing the impossible, and we've been doing the difficult, and the impossible just takes a little bit longer to do, right? So let's do the work. Let's figure out where this shit comes from, and let's go into it, both males and females, with the heart to extirpate it, to root it out, to excise the cancer of this shit from our community so that we can start to get the healing that we need and move forward collectively, interdependently, as one people, united by one lineage with one heritage. That's my final thought on it.
That's a damn good final thought.
Well, I appreciate that, dear sister, your spiritual pound. Right? Family, thank you
so
all
much
for tuning in. Remember, support your interests, right? Don't worry, Miss Diddy will get a cut. She needs her own little thing. I told her to set it up, but
I
you know.
told him no, because this is his channel.
So we appreciate the love and support. If you got the spare coins and you feel like we provided something that edifies, go ahead and show your love, show your support. Remember, tune in tomorrow for Sucker Free Saturday, where we're going to discuss the romanticization of segregation.
Yes.
Right? Because that's some bullshit that's been long ongoing amongst these do-for-selfers and all these other mentally mind-fucked bastards in our community. And we're going to get it in tomorrow, family. So make sure to tune in for Sucker Free Saturday.
Thank you so much for tuning in. We love y'all dearly. And to all the Black Honey Badgers, I always forget this.
Keep your claws sharp, your minds clear, and your hearts pure.